Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Today, is the 208th show. Yeah, you like it. Man, I love it. Of the In Your Face show. And I'm here with my main man, you know what I'm saying? He's a teacher, a great teacher, might I add. He's a digital creator, teaching that. He's an actor. This man is a radio show host. Give it up for Mr. Joe Ray. Take it away, my brother.
Hey, well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate King Daniel for being here, and congratulations on 285. I think I'm somewhere around, I don't know, 70 or 80. So I'm behind. I'll catch up with you one day. Maybe not. If we keep growing, I'll never catch up. It's all right. But hey, thanks for having me. Normally I'd be wearing just the T-shirt, but it's getting a little chilly down here in Florida. You guys need to stop sending your weather this way. So
Hey, we try not to, but hey,
we're getting
it's cold as a motherfucker down there, motherfucker.
It's,
You know what I'm
it's January. It's January. It is what it is, right?
saying? Hey, man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you gotta work, right?
That's right.
Oh man. So, you know what I mean? Wait patiently whistles while waiting and annoying my husband.
Yeah.
And hi, Joe.
Hey, Cynthia. Thanks for jumping in. Oh, when we get to that, actually, Cynthia and her husband, Ralph Romeo. I always put a plug in for them, Ralph Romeo Radio Hour. They're the ones that help me get started when we get to that. But yeah, I'll talk about that.
Okay, not a problem, not a problem, you know. And rethink this. I'll say, what's up, Joe?
Hey, what's happening?
Okay.
Invite your friends. We're going to be here a little bit. So
A little while, you know what I'm saying? A little while. We're gonna get this thing rocking, we're gonna get this thing rolling. Rolling.
better stop bending over. The baldness.
Hey, gotta work, baby. So,
it shows my hustle.
oh, I'm hustling.
We're always hustling.
Work it. Okay, so I would like to ask you a question, my sir. So, what is it like being a teacher?
Woo! Which direction, which day it is. But no, I have a general philosophy that teaching, well, first of all, teaching, if you're not in the people business, don't be a teacher. It's not a job. It's not something you're there to shape, inspire. I have a plaque that I put on the back of my, actually I need to put it back up after Christmas break. I put it up on the back cupboards so I see it. Kids don't see it because, the kids are facing me. They should be facing me. I'll say it that way. And it says inspire. So it tells me I'm here to inspire these children to go be something bigger than themselves. It's definitely changed over I'm in my 25th year. So obviously I must like it. And I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy children. I teach high school level now. I refuse to teach I substituted elementary for a couple years. I'm good. Keep it. I taught kindergarten was good. I taught that for a couple years. That was fun. Middle school for 4 years. Middle school was my boot camp here in Ocala, Florida. I call it my boot camp because anybody that's taught middle school, you're blessed. I bless you, and I'll tutor your children, but that's where I stop. But high school, I have mostly seniors, so I'm teaching the seniors. I'm getting them ready to be adults. So when they say, I'm full grown, I can do what I want. Really? You got your diploma yet? Oh, okay. You got your house payments? You paying all the insurance and the house bills and the rent? And first of all, fully grown means your body doesn't stop growing until you're about 25 years old when your brain finally connects. So you're not full grown. And I use all the biological, and they hate me for that. But I'm like, when you can figure out how to break down monthly payments and pay your bills and stay out of debt, okay. And you're 25 and over, you're full grown. So,
oh man.
I bring harsh reality, but I also bring. I'm not always harsh every day. I'm a mild-mannered person most of the time. Christmas break, I'm a little loose right now because it's Christmas, and I'm still still grading papers, man. I'm not done. It's never, and that's on me because I let the kids turn in the work because a lot of kids were sick at the end of the semester. They were absent. Just things were happening. Like, all right, turn in your work. I'll get it done. I got time. I can stay up late, get up whenever. It's fine. But overall, I enjoy teaching. I like shaping the minds. I love hearing the ideas and kind of directing them, not telling them what to think, but how to think, like teaching them how to examine all sides of an issue, what's good for them, where it's going, and thinking long-term because, all children and even young adults, we're used to this instant gratification. Like, hey, man, I need it right now. I'm like, okay, you just spent $2.25 on a bag of chips in the vending machine with your tap card, and you're keeping the price. I teach them all that economic stuff too, because I teach money this year, all money.
Okay.
And so I'm like, you could have went to the store or to the stove. Could have went to the store.
You got that black, did he?
Some of them, I'm like, yeah. Some of them, like, you could have went to the store and got yourself a box of what you got 10 of them for $4 instead. You're going to get 2 of them, cost you 50 cents more than you could have bought 10. I know it's Christmas and I don't want people to want math. Oh my gosh, it's math. Stop. But that's what I do. But my goal is to inspire children to learn and math. And when I say math, I'm a math certified teacher here in the state of Florida. And when I say math, first 3 words I will hear out of at least 50% of my whoever I'm talking to, I hate math. So it's like, well, you must like math, at least geometry, and get your clothes on to fit because that's geometry. You want to be on time, that's math. Algebra, you're thinking about stuff. You're planning ahead. It's mathematical. That's right. It's teaching students how to rewire their brain in the midst of all that hormonal growth. So I just gave you educational psychology 101 in about a nutshell right there. So
yeah, you know what I'm saying? They need to learn all of that, man. They need to learn all that. With all this shit going on in this damn world right now, they need to learn something. They need to learn something because, they're not getting it at home. They're not getting it from the streets. They need to get it somewhere.
And then, and my street cred, because I have a little street cred because I used to live in Jersey City. I got street cred because I'm a trash talking, student loving, math teaching teacher person, whatever, whatever, all these things. And but not only teaching math, we as teachers, we've become a lot of times the pseudo parent, the dad, the counselor, the guidance, whatever. It's like, but it's, what's that common phrase? They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
And when you pour into the children, but at the same time, I'm not the government. I'm not your welfare group. I'm going to be your wall right here. This is where I stop. You got to go the rest of the way. You got to make an effort. And
that's right.
I mean, if you don't struggle, you don't grow. So there you go.
That's right. So, being a teacher, right? What is the most hardest thing to do when it comes to being a teacher?
Hardest thing? Disrespect. The disrespect. And the disrespect combined with the non-parental support. That's when the parents, I'm going to say it, when the parents don't support the system, or they don't try to help their child, or because they didn't like school, or they didn't do well in school, or they're blaming somebody for their problems. All of a sudden now we're going to teach the next generation to blame somebody else for their problems. But when we get that support, it's awesome. But the disrespect, and I can be as nice, as good as day, but it's just the rudeness, that's the biggest issue. But I handle it because, like I said, I hit it right back. But at the same time, you got to know when to respond. Sometimes you just got to let it go because you can't address every statement. Now, if it's disruptive, hey, Yvonne, Yvonne's a teacher. You'll see her in the chat. She's also a teacher. We got teaching friends and relatives. Hey, Melissa. Yes, ma'am. Good to see you. So that's why I like when I tutor, like some parents, they're awesome. They're right there. Boom. Good. Awesome. And they're training their children. Keep it going. And, you know, when there's this overgeneralization that at times that, oh, the kids are bad. No. It's a small portion. It's always a small portion. When was it 40 or we had a stat a few years ago, 40% of the referrals were from 22 children.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was, of course, it's growing a little bit, but the large percentage is always from a small group. The majority of the kids, they're like, hey, I want to learn. I'm going to go. They want to get stuff done. So I have to make, math can be, we grew up, I don't know if this is the same for you, but when I grew up, the only interactive class I really had was biology and science. Everything else was lecture, do the bookwork. Oh, okay. But that's what my parents said. Do it. You got to know it. Okay. So I take finances and I give projects. You got to make it fun. I mean, give the kids research. They got, there's technology out there. We are combining the technology here in Central Florida, and a lot of schools are. They're combining the technology. So that's oh yeah, Jackie B. She's my student all the time. Right.
80-20 rule.
The 80-20 rule. That's right. So, yeah. So it's like when you have continuous interruptions, continuous disruption, kids who don't care, it's like, okay. And when they don't care, it's like by law, we still have to wait for a time to say, okay, so what's the alternatives? Like, okay, especially when they're like 16. Okay, so what do you want to do? You want to do GED? We have alternatives, but we still have to follow laws. But we exhaust our resources to say, hey, we've tried up to this point and you're still not wanting to do it. Like if you're a senior with 4 credits and a 0.9 GPA, mathematically, you're not going to make it. So, but that's the hardest part is working with students who don't care, who don't want to grow, who don't want to work, don't want to succeed. And then they turn to adults who don't want to grow, don't want to succeed. And then we have this system that we have when we're all of a sudden it's like, this is not the 1980s. The handouts aren't going to be there like you think. It's not going to grow like that. So.
Yeah. Melissa says, I'm sorry, kids need their butts beat. Like, hell yeah. Some kids need their ass whipped. I'm sorry.
I got a couple stories there. It happened to me. That's why I know. Elementary school. So I grew up when I was in kid. This is my biggest influence. I'm gonna cite Mrs. Norma Fickens. She's about 90 years old right now. I'm sorry, Eunice, if I forgot your mom's age, I apologize. But she was 40. So we're going back 50 years. She was about 40 years old. She was our daycare director. In the state of Maryland in the mid 70s, there was a crisis. People were just broke in the 70s. We were just broke. And we went to daycare, kindergarten, got it, pre-K. That was the pre-K kindergarten stage. And she took us, she was a director. And I was working on this yesterday. And I thought, you know what? It was run by all Black women. And so Mama Fickens, that's what we called her, Mama Fickens, Mrs. Fickens, but Mama Fickens. She was like, baby, you know how they are. Baby. It was like, baby, come here. Let me talk to you. So, yeah. And you looked at her, yes, ma'am. And she talked to you, just get your heart. And that's the way she spoke. She very rarely raised her voice, but she was talking to kids, right? Because she's like, we all, I grew up in the projects. I know we grew up poor. We worked our way out, but she was from the same town. So she knew everybody's situation. She knew every child's family. And she knew us. And today I still communicate. When I go up to Maryland, I still go try to see her when I can. And so we grew up that way. But when I got to elementary school, 4th grade, I got mean. I mean, I was a rattlesnake, and that's when I started learning how to cuss a lot. So,
oh man,
oh yeah. And then And then elementary school, when you got your third paddle, when you got your third referral, they called your mom and dad and said, he's got 3 referrals. Do you want us to paddle him? Well, my mom said, light him up. I was like,
oh, yeah.
so and it was the ping pong paddles. Remember the bouncy balls?
Ah.
When they broke, every parent gave their paddle to the principal, and he would use them on us. I'm like, what? That's not fair. That's not fair. So he spanked me once, and in the middle of it, I'm thinking, oh, it's not that bad. But when I got it's not that bad, he came again and got me again, and I jumped up and down, crying and screaming, and crying. And then that same year, there was an ex-football player named Mr. Dorsey. And he was what we call, today we call it self-contained. Back then we called it resource teachers. And he was the self-contained teacher. And he only had 5 boys because they were 5 boys that just couldn't fit into any normal classroom. They had to be separated, and he was the man. I mean, he's an ex-football player. So when teachers had problems with kids like me occasionally, they go over and get Mr. Dorsey. Well, Mr. Dorsey picked me up, put me against the wall, and said, stop it. And I went, and then he dropped me, and I went, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he goes, you want me to tell your mother? I was like, no, because she'll tell my dad. And my dad, yeah, they lit us up. We got lit up. And our neighbors were given permission to spank us back in the 70s, in the early 80s. It was like, and that happened one time. I was like, and they're like, you want me to tell your dad? No, you already got me. Don't, I don't want it again. So yeah, we got whooped. Yeah. And the last, and I talk about discipline because the kids are like, oh, my parent touched me. I'm like, yeah, no, if that discipline is not early on and consistent, continuous, you start to see those things.
Yes, sir.
Plus we're seeing it, and I will attribute some of that is, and kids tell me, breakdown of the family. Like I have some guys that have single moms, and they said, and they asked me, did you grow up in with 2 parents? I went, yeah. And they're like, you're lucky. But these are 2 of those kids also do whatever they want. And they're some of my disrespectful children, but I'm working on them because I'm trying to show them I got to show them how to be men. So that's part of my teaching. Not only show them how to be money, but now I got to show them how to be respectful men growing up, as they go.
Right.
Because I told them the last whooping I got, not even a whooping, it was a beat down. I was 18 years old, and it was 4 months after graduation. I lied to my father. I took the car. I lied to where I was going, and I totaled the car, and he had just paid it off 1 month before. He had just paid off the car. Yeah. And then not only that, I corrected him while he was drunk. Bad idea. Because he said something, and I corrected him, and he knocked me out the screen door.
Damn.
Yeah. And this is at midnight on a Saturday night in September 1988. I still feel it. And the whole neighborhood was there. It was like everybody's watching, And he's like, chain link fence, house aluminum siding, porch pillar, repeat, and none of those things move. So
wow.
My dad was a construction worker, and when he got, if you took him to that level, and I took him there 3-4 times, and I felt it every single time. But that's what I say. That's what kept me out of prison. So
right.
My dad, he had to bounce me and said, look, this is what you got to, and then later on be like, this is what you got to do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And but that's why. And now, so when the kids when some of these children are being crazy the way they are, and they get to my classroom, and all of a sudden you hit that wall, you're like, now we got resistance, right? But at the same time, you got to build a relationship, right? Like anything, build a relationship, and show you why. And I teach them why you got to do these things, and I keep them engaged, which is difficult. I can't compete with the media. I can't compete with social media. I just do what I got to do and try to be creative, and it works.
Right. We got a couple of comments. We're gonna get to the questions afterwards. Hold on. Okay. 1980 rules. 80 rules.
Yeah, I remember those.
Ha 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 ha. She laughing. Latoya.
Hey, Latoya.
LOL. When discipline was real, keeping children in alignment. I am that generation. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh yes.
it still
I came from
happened.
the late '80s, so
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
yeah. I was the '70s, '80s, and then, but it's still there. You can see it like when you see a dad make a look at his son, and his son's like starts bowing back. I'm like, and I'm in the back going, yes, get him. But in my head, but inside, I'm like, that's right, that's right. Hey,
Hold on, hold
Ember,
on.
that's Ember.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey. Okay. Shit, bro. That's right. That's right. You know. Hey, oh my gosh. My seventh grade principal chased me down the road by corner store over at Fitz where I lost him.
I like it. You and I,
Oh
Melissa, you and I can
shit.
have a conversation about that story later. Maybe.
Hey man. So, you know, what question like man, what are the things that is worthwhile like the work like what's worthwhile while being a teacher? What is the worthwhile moment that you feel when being a teacher?
Um, there's so many. Most of it, well, I can't say most. Let's see, when students get it, and not only when they get it, but when you watch students and you don't tell them what just let the kids. They have their own social structure. So when you see students helping each other, and they're scared that you're going to get on them for cheating, I'm like, no, no, no. And I say, teach them the processes, teach them the how to. And I said, that's all I say. And I back off and I let it flow. When you let that skill and that structure just flow naturally, organically, I'm like, I'll be in the corner drinking Wawa. I'll be able to in the corner. Let me know if you need something. Let me know if you need me. I'm over here. Yeah, I'm that math teacher. I always got a calculator. Yeah, I'm like, if you need a calculator, I'll be over in the corner.
I feel you, man.
But
Yeah, man.
that, and when they come back and say everything you said was right, and I was like, that's why we teach. Yeah, we teach standards because standards work. Standards, right? When you hit that standard, it's not a, and we don't lower our, we raise our standards. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly what Melissa said. When you see you made a difference, when you see the change, when you see the growth, when you see when you see a student quit complaining about their diagnosis, and all of a sudden they're like, and instead of using that, they're just doing right, or and not that they don't struggle. Every child's got that struggle. It's adolescence. It's teenage years that I have. Some people have them in middle school, middle school. But when you see, and then when you see them come back when you catch them later as adults,
Oh.
and they're like, yeah, and you see them as family, and they got their family, like, hey, Mr. A, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm like, and you cheer them on because you want, like I say, you want to see them grow, right, and carry that down to their children, and
Right.
so or when they tell, and I said, but don't tell the kids the stories of what Mr. Ray did in the classroom that could have got him in trouble. So, we talk about it. Like, you remember when? Yeah, I remember when my greatest days. I remember. But like I said, middle school was my boot camp. That's all I got to say.
Sure. William Corbin, I knew that discipline too. My father was from South Carolina in the military. Go Warriors, Joe.
Yes, sir. Yeah, me and Billy played on the same ball team for a year. Billy's a year ahead of me. Now I was in class with his sister. Go Warriors, yes, sir. That's what we, for those in the 939 area code. That's Haverty Graves, Maryland. They know. I gotta represent a little bit. So, but I'm in Florida, but I'm from Maryland. That's what we do.
Hey,
You may
he said,
you
yeah, me sixth grade.
yes.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. But
My
sounds good.
silly
Sounds good. Yeah, but yeah, Billy's dad, he was tough. Like when we were on the ball team, like Billy will testify this. We had a guy, we only had him for a year, and the guys that we had coaching and managing our team the year we were on the same team were older. I'm talking like probably 60 already, but they would say they would discipline back to basics, kept the basics like we teach at school. Know the basics, right? Same thing on the ball field. Anything you do, know the basics, repeat, we keep doing it until you got it. And then, but they didn't let us slide. Being on time, the soft skills, being punctual, being respectful, being on time, working together. They taught us that on the ball field. So when you combine the ball field in conjunction with the education, and I stay connected to the coaches. I'm like, this guy needs to sit the bench first quarter. That's all I'm going to say. So I'll make a suggestion, but yeah, it's all good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Some of them, yeah. Some of them will give you trouble, but and some of them will never outgrow. They'll just continue to be jerks. But at the same time, you're like, but what I found is that even the guys that were jerks, when we stayed consistent, and we don't budge, because once you budge your position, it's blood in the water, baby. They're sharks. They'll come at you. They smell fear. They smell blood, and it's like, okay. And I don't flinch. I'm like, it's like, what was it we used to say? I used to hear it all the time. Try me, like Samuel Jackson. Try me. So without all the other words, but I just say, try me. I was like, if you think you're mad enough, I'm right. I'm right here. Try my. I say, what I tell them is, anything I say, teaching wise, don't just. I said, go research it. Go research. Go figure it out. You guys Google everything else. Why don't you go Google what you're supposed to do to be successful? But it's a lot of. But the growth, the greatest thing is when I see them grow, when I see them come back and say, yes, it works. This works. Thank you for the algebra. The thank you part. That's the best. That's the best. When it's the thank you, the gratitude. And I had one kid, because I give a big project at the end of my finance class every year. He came back 5 years after college. He's like, I'm still working on that project. I'm like, whatever, man, shut up. Because I'm still working on that project, because he went to Emory up there in Atlanta. And I was like, you ain't working on nothing in Atlanta. Let it go. Shut up. Don't tell me that.
Hey, man. Okay, so do you ever get those children that you never thought that always made trouble in a class, right? Always kidding. Do you ever get those kids that came back and changed their whole life around?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me preface it with this. I don't know if you got this in Jersey, but here in Central Florida, we got something called mugshots, and I read them every week. and I see, all right, are there any former students or current students on that list? So I know, and me having my ministerial license, I can go visit. I tell them, if you go to jail, I'm gonna come visit you, man. You ain't gonna like. I said, then I'll give you a math homework. But I play with them. But no, yeah, I've had this former student, my first year teaching middle school. 6th grader. It was a small private school. He was a bully. He was a flat out just thug wannabe. I was like, and his mother told me, she says, if he gives you trouble, handle him. And I went, really? I was like, you sure? Because I will. And so he had gotten so bad just being a punk. I was like, so finally I just said, you know what? I know this is a small private Christian school, but I'm done. And I grabbed him and I put him up and I said, stop. And then I did a Mr. Dorsey. So, Mr. Dorsey did it with one hand. I grabbed two. So I was like, yeah. Stop. And now he's got his own construction business. 2 kids, nice family. I saw him. We're not friends on Facebook. I just saw him I was like, wow, look at that. And all these kids that are, one kid, I didn't think he was going to make it. Now he's a firefighter and an EMT with a couple, 2 or 3 children and a family. And I was like, said, you guys really, when they come back or they show me, or one kid was geometry, this is a student I taught 16 years ago. He just didn't want to work. And now, and I said, you're going to need this geometry. He's like, yeah, whatever. He's running his own construction business. I was like, I told you. So I said, you don't know how you impact people. And then when you see, now there was a moment in the mall, the local mall, about just after Thanksgiving, and these two big brothers walked up, and I went, and I'm not, I don't get scared. I just say, I engage people. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And they said, Mr. Ray. I said, tell me your names, because you don't look like any children I taught. And they told me, like, yeah, Justin and Jason. And I said, give me your last name. And they gave me the last name, and they were excited to see me. And I was like, these guys are my buddies because they're 6'4" and 5'10", and I'm like, something goes down, I got them. So we're all team. We're a team, man. And they were thankful for something 18 years ago where I stopped one kid from getting expelled because he was some guy messed around with his cousin, kicked her notebook on the ground. And these dudes are 6'5" and 6'7", and I'm 6'1", going, I look like, basically it was an Oreo cookie. It was me between two big brothers. You
said an Oreo cookie.
Oreos. I was like, Oreo that day, baby. So I was like, all right, you get on the bus and go over to your alternative school. You go back to the class. I said, you guys want to get arrested today or what? And then they were good. After that, I don't know, just that moment, and they cleaned up. So they were good. And now they're both successful, running their own businesses. It's like when you see those things over time, and I connect with some of these guys on Facebook, and now I'm clients of some of these people. I'm tutoring some of these former students' children. I'm tutoring their kids. Like, all right, you're paying me for all that crap you gave me back 20 years ago. You're paying me now, baby. But it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's good to see that. I mean, I do have my hardships. Yes, I do get disappointed when I see kids get arrested, or I've had, you lose over time. It's just inevitable. Students who passed away due to violence or just accidents or whatever reason, sickness. And so making the connection with the parents, that's when they really, when you show interest in, as teachers, when we show interest, not just in the classroom, but like sports games, church functions, choir, band, we just show up. We just show up at something that's not on the contract time. When we do that, and they're like, oh, or you see them the biggest excitement is when they see you at the grocery store or at their job. They're like, Mr. Ray. Yeah. If you're like, quarter pounder with cheese. Yeah, that's it. I'll take a, or even better is when you get the kid who gives you the hookup. I mean, I don't get it anymore, but these kids that used to work at KFC, we don't have a KFC near me anymore, but I came in and they're like, I got you. And I'd get a $5 box, and it was like, I said, this thing's like 4 or 5 pounds, bro. So it's more like it's like a $15 box. And I don't know, I ate for a couple of days off of that box, so it was all good. But
damn.
Yeah. I said,
good, man.
Sometimes you get a blessings, but we go to art festivals and with our kids, or when they show their art stuff. So when it's outside, or I'm at Walmart and they're like, yo, Mr. Ray. I'm like, hey. And if it's somebody from 10 years ago, forgot your name, but hey. I've taught 3,000 students. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm getting older, but those are the good times. It makes it worth it. And you're going to go through this cycle of teaching every year. There's always a cycle. There's the first quarter is the honeymoon phase. Honeymoon's over. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're getting contentious. I got seniors, third quarter to get that senioritis, and fourth quarter it's like, okay, buckle up because you've got 10 weeks to graduation, and if you don't pass my class, you don't walk. And that's when I give them a reality check, and they're like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden I got work, like I said, getting work turned in, and they that's how. So it's just, but seeing all those things play out over time, and but I say teaching for me, having worked multiple jobs. Good night, Cynthia. That's all right. I'll let's go catch you later. They're up about Cynthia and Ralph. They're up in Patterson, New Jersey. They're in Patterson. But when you go, I say teaching has been the easiest job because I've worked at McDonald's and Walmart. Teaching is my easiest job I've ever worked. So I'm just like, I'm good. It's like, if you've ever had a cheeseburger thrown at you, you'll understand. It's like, oh. So I said, ketchup. So, like, all right. 12 years of that, that didn't happen a lot, but it's just, if you worked any retail, any customer service, shoot, I'm teaching. This is easy for me. It is for me. So
right. So digital career. So
all right.
What inspired you to become a digital creator?
A digital creator, just not wanting to be behind the times. I grew up in that. Okay, I'm going back 1984. Some of us older folks remember DOS, the disk operating system, and the floppy disk, and we're going way back when Apple first started rolling. Commodore 64s. I mean, 64 gig was fast. Now 64 is like, please, you're in sleep mode. We got more on this. We got more on this phone than than our computers had back in the day. Back 40 years ago. But once I got onto acting, radio, just wanting to be out there and say, hey,
I remember for sure.
Yeah. Just once I started all these things, I was like, wait a minute, I have a message. And so my first YouTube page, hey, Christina, good to see you. She's in Alaska. Hey, yeah, floppy disk, for sure. Yeah, floppy disk. The floppy disk is older than you, girl. That's all I got to say about that. But just wanting to get connected. I know our age is talking, Melissa. I understand. Or somebody's age, mine anyway. Gray hair. But just my first digital creation started with YouTube. Like YouTube was out, I don't know, 8 years before I even went, wait a minute, everybody's talking about YouTube. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Because when I taught 18 years ago, my classroom was the chalkboard. I mean, literally, I had chalk. The classroom they put me in, the first one had a marker board, but the second one was chalk. And they're like, do you want to use the chalk? I said, I'm fine with chalkboard. We're going old school. We're going that way. Kids gotta use their writing skills. But just not wanting to be behind the times, because seeing my students run rampant. A student had to show me how to use Excel 11 years ago. I didn't. When I got students showing me how to do stuff, I'm like, all right, I'll be humble. I'm not going to be cocky. I don't know. And they, but just wanting to get the message out. And my first YouTube videos were, and they're still up. They're math problems. So they're boring as crap, but hey, they work. You can do this. Get it.
Good old chalk. My old German teacher ate the chalk. Fun fact. Yeah.
Oh man.
Eat chalk. Ew, they got candy chalk out there. Ew.
Yeah. I still have a chalkboard on my wall. I'm not going to show the kitchen because it's, anyway, you'll see the dog food and whatever. But anyway, I got an old little chalkboard over there, right. I still got a couple pieces of chalk, and I still have a box of chalk in one of the boxes back in the one of the rooms. But yeah, just wanting to get out there saying, hey, I've got a message. We all have a message, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, but I got tired of sitting in the shadows, because people are like, you've got a message, you've got something to say. And when people are telling me that, well, you teach this, why don't you help people publicly with like money and finances? I'm like, okay, well, my broke teacher salary, yeah, I'll do that. So no, it's, and I'm not, I manage, I'm okay. I'm doing okay. You know, I'm doing fine, except for the green sheet behind me. It's, you know, so, but no, I'm good. It's all good. But they said the message. So it's like, okay, so how do I do this? And then once I start learning, and then, you know, it's like, okay, I finally, then 4 years ago, we had to go Zoom because of, you know, COVID, four and a half, now almost 5 years ago. We had to go teach online. And like, you know how to teach online? I'm like, we had to take courses for that, Microsoft Teams and Zoom. And then I was tutoring that way. And they're like, wait a minute, I can use this to make money. Oh my gosh, check this out. And Zoom and, you know, teaching via Zoom over, I don't have to go travel 60 miles to somebody's house. I can teach over whatever. And now you've got where you're at, StreamYard and all these things. It's like, bro, I don't want to be the 1975 Ford Pinto trying to get with a 2024 Lamborghini. It's like, let's keep up. So, right. For those who don't know, a Pinto looked like an M&M back in the 70s. It was like driving an M&M, basically. Never had one. Just know that. We were a station.
Punch buggies.
Punch buggies. Yeah. or the station wagons with the reverse seat in the back.
Yeah. And you know, I used to watch those cars with the door on the front of the car.
Yeah.
You have to open it. Yeah, we call them punch buggies and stuff like that.
Punch buggies, yeah.
Yeah.
No punch back.
Punch buggy, no punch back. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it was so trying to keep up simultaneously, you know, like, okay, well, let me get through grading my papers and let me tinker with this. They're like, hey, have you tried this? Try that. And now AI. Now use it here. Use artificial intelligence. Use AI now into your thing. Oh, whoa! Computer. This is my AI right here. You know, but I'm good. It's all good. So, but that's what one of me is, just staying ahead of the game, utilizing, keeping up with the times. Whereas before, it's like, you know, I want students to keep up with me in the classroom, where I'm trying to get them to a level. Now there's so much they're learning in the classroom now, and the programs, coding and computer language and AI, this and create. It's like, and the kids are walking, I can do this for you. Go ahead, please do, please. And I'll, you know, extra credit, baby, extra credit. There you go. Here's my notes. Just help me in. I actually used AI once to make a lesson plan. No, twice. The second time was to make a quiz, because some of, you know, kids cheat, right? They you know, hey, you know, they got them wandering eyeballs, you know, like Mr. Deeds, the crazy eyes. Yeah, they're all over the place. And so I said, AI, I said, go ahead. And I said, make me here's my quiz, here's my questions, stratify it, and give me 15 different quizzes with the answers and everything just stratified. Boom, 15 different quizzes. I pass out 15 different quizzes, and the kids, you know who's cheating, because they got the same answer as the different quiz next to them, and they got a 0 and they got an 80. That's how I catch my cheaters. So I'm a math guy. I'm pretty strategic. I know how to. I'm not, you know, you think we didn't know, you think we didn't do stuff like this? I mean, I didn't, because I was afraid, because my mom worked in the high school, and I didn't want the teacher going downstairs to the cafeteria to tell my mother, because then she wouldn't give me the cookies that were freshly baked. So food was my thing, right?
Oh man.
Yes. Oh, thanks, Nicole.
You ever got a whipping in front of your class? As a kid?
In front of the school, yes. Yes.
Oh, yes. That's worse.
Yes. It wasn't the class. It was like, good morning, Joe's getting the beating.
Wow.
It's like whooping. That's what's for breakfast. So
people ever laughed at you? People were laughing at you?
Oh, middle school is brutal. Middle school is brutal. I was in 8th grade. I was like, Dad, I'm supposed to be the cool kid. No, not that day. Not that
Oh,
week. Not that week.
oh my God! I bet you remember that for the rest of your life.
I tell the story. I still tell my students. Once there was I don't know if they're still around up there. There used to be a store called Ames, Ames, Ames department store. And I got a whooping with my Wheaties. We had Cheerios back then. We couldn't afford Wheaties. Forget any sugar cereal. We poured the sugar in, drank the sugar. That was our sugar. It was like drink the sugar at the bottom of the bowls. Yeah.
You ever eat a mayonnaise sandwich?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Syrup sandwich. I know you ate a syrup sandwich.
I'm from the Spam generation, man. Yeah,
I love Spam too. Yeah.
Sandwiches,
a syrup sandwich. I know you ate a syrup sandwich.
No, syrup was only for pancakes. That's it. Don't touch. My mom was, don't touch the syrup. It's expensive.
Well, I mean, hey, you at least understood the struggle living in the hood.
Yeah. There was a whole summer we ate nothing but
government cheese.
1978 government cheese. Yeah.
Oh man.
We grew up in the projects. We were on government assisted welfare. We had a welfare for. We had those. We were just short of food stamps. But my father would go. He went to Michigan to go work with my uncle and make the money and send it home from Michigan. He'd go away for 3 months because in Michigan in the wintertime he'd work the roads for the state. And my uncle got him the job, so he'd come and he'd send that money back home to my mom, and that's how we survived. And then he was construction from March to late November, early December, whenever the weather started getting bad. And then those 3 months he would, it was just that cycle for a few years. But yeah. 1981, 80 to 81, fifth grade. That was the worst year that I can remember because we were coming out of the Carter presidency into the Reagan presidency, and then my dad, we were picked up as the Reagan expanded I'm drooling here. I don't know why I'm drooling. I ain't looking at nobody. Ain't nobody here but me. Anyway. So 80 to 81, we struggled. And then Ronald Reagan, he expanded the military. The military grew. So my dad was a civilian worker for the Department of Defense. And he got a solid job. And then he built houses and sidewalks on the side versus working for a construction company. And then we got out of that, free lunch program. So yeah, but 80 to 81, that summer was mayonnaise and tomato sandwiches, milk and water out the hose. There was no bottled water, nothing. There was no Gatorade, wasn't no Mountain Dew, wasn't no soda. Christmas was tight. Christmas was like put the tree up the day before Christmas instead of at Thanksgiving like we normally did. We put it up the day before, took it down the day after Christmas. Easter, there was no basket. Like we were used to a basket. My great grandmother bought the basket for us. We were all like, that was a devastating year. It was a tough year. And fifth grade was the year I got grounded for 4 months. It was a tough year, man.
Oh man. What about cereal with water in it?
That?
Cereal with water in it.
Oh no, we weren't that broke.
Yeah, I know you never ate. Oh my God, no cereal.
No.
Cereal with water. We ate that. We ate that cereal with water. No, my God. Oh.
We had a neighbor, Mr. Resker, Joe Resker. He was amazing. One of his sons or son-in-law. Anyway, somebody had an orchard. He goes, and he was from Massachusetts. He's like, I'm going up to the orchard. You need anything? And my mom would be like, she'd say no. But he'd look at us and he'd see our faces because he's like, I'm getting apples. And our faces were like, get some food, man. So he'd bring back a big bag of apples, back then you could get day-old donuts for like half price, for a quarter a box because they didn't want to waste it. So, they wanted to make money. A day-old donuts, we tore those up. That was a luxury. Milk. So he brought in a big grocery bag of donuts and tomatoes and apples. And my mom would buy we get the milk. So milk and tomato sandwiches for lunch every single day that summer of 81. Almost every day it felt like it. And then, but yeah, those were good times. But now you're like, like, and I look in there, I got a little bit of mayonnaise. I've got no tomatoes. I got oranges and bananas. And, I'm like, can't live that way now. I'm now I'm like 54. I'm like, I can't eat like that I was 10 years old. We could eat the world. Now it's like, I want to get the diabetes.
Man, I got a question for y'all. Hold on for just a second. Yo,
Sure.
can y'all like and subscribe to the channel to get all that is the In Your Face show? You're watching the best show on earth. You gotta get some more, baby. You gotta get some more after the show. Look at all the older shows. Look at all the newer shows. Look at all the future shows. We coming, baby. 300. We coming. It's it. Back to the broadcast. Yeah.
Jackie B cereal with orange juice. I wasn't like that. Not even that bad. We couldn't afford orange juice. So it's like,
okay, what about spaghetti butter bread?
no.
I mean, yeah. Let's see.
Butter the bread, put the spaghetti on it, make the spaghetti sandwiches. That's what we did. Because you'd walk in and you knew you were poor when Dad, because my father always talked about beans and cornbread. We ate pinto beans and cornbread every night when he's grown up, because they grew up in the mountains, and they were, he was on a farm in 1940s to the 60s when he grew up. Yeah, they were poor. They were, they struggled on the farm. They made it, right? They worked hard, but they knew how to survive. And then when he brought that on us, and we're like, oh, when you walk in and see a pot of pinto beans and you knew that's what was for dinner, you're like, oh no, oh man. And you had to eat it. You're like, you're gonna eat every drop, and you're not leaving the table. And you're like, and you get that milk and wash it down. Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh.
Yeah. But I love it now. I can eat the pinto beans and cornbread now. I love it. Back then, no.
I mean, so okay, so all right, we're gonna go into the acting career. So, acting career. So, what was your favorite? What inspired you to become an actor?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna go. It always starts. It always starts way back. Sometimes. Well, when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, that's when I first started. Every church, they Christmas plays, right? So the people who brought me to church, and my mom would say, "Take the kids, take us all," right? The people who brought us to church, the one lady, she was in charge of the program. She was always in charge of the Christmas play every year, or at least for I don't know how many years I was in it. And she say, "You're in the play." I was like, and I'm just like, I know I'm in the play. Because Mom would be like, "You're going into Christmas play." Like, because after football season, we would have Christmas play practice. Because yeah. It's like, you're in the play. And that's how it started. So I've been doing acting 47 years. Yeah. As far as plays, skits, so forth. Now, where that grew professionally was 2015. I thought about it, and where the acting first came in was when I was at McDonald's, and we would, when you're bored at work, you make stuff up, you make up scenarios, you act things out with fellow crew workers, you act, I grew up with wrestling. We used to pretend we used to wrestle and do the WWF stuff and hurt each other. we did that in the house. We broke things. Well, we didn't break bones, thank God. We'll tell you that the figure four leg lock hurts. It really hurts. I will tell you.
Yeah, it really hurts.
But,
oh my God. But
in 2015, there was a radio announcement. It's like, "Hey, do you want to be an actor?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Then but the first two times it came on, I was like, "Nah," because all I could think about was what I was going through and working and teaching, and I was working 2 jobs and struggling. Like, when am I going to have time to act? Turn it off. Right? Turn it off second time. The next day, it came on the third time. And I tell you, this is how God works. I went to turn it off. And when I say I got punched in the chest by the Holy Spirit, I mean, boom. He's like, and all I heard was apply. And I went, okay, I'm driving. Okay. He's like, there's nobody in the car. I know I just got hit by a Ford. Guy was like, apply. I went, okay. So then, so I applied the next day online. A week later, had an audition. They said, we liked your, I used to write skits and plays for like, Sunday school. I used to write my own skits and stuff and make up stuff. And they were like, and so I made up a monologue, and they're like, "Yeah, we like your energy. We would like to develop you over a year." I'm like, "Okay." So I went through some development. 2016, beginning of 2017, we had a showcase. It was with an organization called Shine with Carrie Lewis, and we were working down in Kissimmee at the Gaylord Palms at the workshop for a week. And you did auditions, and you did like, I was 320 pounds, and they're like, you can be a lifestyle model. And I'm like, only thing I am modeling is probably Michelin tires. All right, I'll try. Like, what am I modeling? A tent? I'm 320 pounds, So so I acted, so they taught us runway, even if we weren't models. They're like, you're going to model something. I'm like, yeah, we are. I don't know what, but okay, whatever. So I learned about that. And so that weekend, that week, I got picked up by 2 agents. I was like, okay, out of Orlando and Jacksonville, Florida. And then I went on and said, you know what? They taught me a lot, but I feel like I'm missing something. I couldn't quite fill out what it was. It was just something that was missing. There was some gaps that had to be filled. So that was probably my own fault. And so I went and did some more training in Tampa. Meanwhile, that year I got on a golf commercial, and I got on the pilot of the new Dynasty. I was in the background. They're like, "Oh, that's cool." But I took these jobs because get my foot in the door. They're like, "Hey, if you start out, you're going to start out free. You're going to start out low." I'm like, "Okay, you got to pay your dues." And I just started to like it. I was like, "Wow, this is cool." I mean, I get this, I get days off from, I use my days off from teaching or during the summer when I'm off, I can go tutor or go act. And so I've done that. And first year was only a couple gigs. And then I got on another commercial, and guys, they were like, "Hey, do you know about this? Do you know about this group, that group?" So you start connecting with networking, right? Like we do on radio and internet, just at school, like any job, you network. And they said, "Hey, we're going to teach you how to find jobs, how to find acting gigs." And then my agent started sending me more. And then 2018, they said, "Hey, we need somebody for Ozark." And they said, "We need somebody to be in the mob." And I'm like, hey, Joey Bag of Donuts here. I got you. So,
Joey Bag of Donuts.
Joey Bag of Donuts. So yeah. I sent my picture in, and I was sitting like this, and I did this mob photo I was playing around, and the guy, he said, "Hey, that's an awesome picture." And we used it, and I got picked. They said, "Perfect." So in season 2, episode 6 of Ozark, I'm part of the mob. So it's all cool. And then I've been on one of my first commercials. The second commercial, I was a bug man. And so people were calling me up at 7:00 in the morning. Hey, what's going on? They're like, "I got a question. Can you come check for bugs?" I'm like, "Shut up, man." So I was the bug man, the mobster, the golf enthusiast. I've been a dad. I filmed, I think, 36 films. The most recent is a film called Rekindled. It's going to come out, I think, in November. It's supposed to schedule, kind of like a Hallmark-ish Christmas thing. It's cute. It's a good show with Renelle Golden as the director and so forth. So it's a good Chris Mulkey, who was in Gracefield. Chris Mulkey was in Rambo First Blood, 1981. He was in that as a deputy. So he's going way back. But yeah, just to 35, 36 films, a bunch of commercials. I played Babe Ruth in a movie called The Kid Who, that's been out a few years. The Kid Who Only Hit Homers. I played. I tried. I didn't get it. I tried to get on 50 Cent's Black Mafia family. I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
be. I tried to be the white guy, the white guy.
You my guy.
Like Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry puts it out there. I was like, okay, if you're on his show, I think most of them are either bailiffs, judges, or cops or lawyers. I'm like, okay, don't stereotype, but but Tyler Perry. But you gotta know these guys. I've heard people. You got to have the hustle, like anything, right? But these guys, they film. We're working on acting. You got to work 12, 14 hours a day. Sometimes you're sitting around for a couple hours. You come back and so forth before your part's called. I've sat on I was part of a documentary. I sat there for 10 hours before they finally called me to film my part. But my call time was 11 in the morning. They didn't use me till 9:30 at night after dinner. It's like, and I was exhausted, but I got paid, and it was a nice check. I was like, okay, but it was in the summertime, so I didn't have anything to do except play on Facebook. I didn't have any papers. Sometimes when I go on set, I bring papers. I grade papers and make up tests. I've done that too. So they're like, "Oh, you were a teacher? Yeah. You don't look like a teacher." No kidding. Teach, but acting. I love acting. I just like being. I've gotten to play the bad guy a lot of times. That's fun. Play the good guy recently. It's okay. So I'll still do it. I'll do it. But being on set, acting, yes, you have to do things over and over for different angles and get the parts right and whatever. But it's a lot. But as long as you enjoy it, and I enjoy it, I love acting and just pretending and pretend world. It's like, you know what I'm not doing today? I'm not teaching. I'm not grading papers. So I'm acting. I'm better, and I love teaching. But I'm just like, today, I'm not grading any papers, and I get to eat lunch for an hour instead of 20 minutes. It's a good day.
It's a very good day. Very good one. So what are your favorite roles as an actor to do?
Well, most recently, Babe Ruth was fun. I enjoyed that. That was cool. But boy, I'll be a little dark. I like the part where I get to shoot people. It's all good. So it's like, they're like, you could be the lawyer, you could be the bad guy. I like being the bad guy. It's fun. I like being the detective. We're filming in a couple of weeks. We're going to film. I can't say anything about it because got the DNA, but can't talk about it. But we're filming another film where I'm a detective. So and playing the different roles. But yeah, just playing the part where, especially that's when we get to fight. It's like, oh, we get to fight and wrestle. Yes. I played it. I will say this. I know it's going to sound bad, but we were sending out a message to promote. I played a human trafficker, and I got to steal this girl like 15 times. so like, you're coming with me. So it was all good. It was all good. But yeah, that was
fun. Man. So being an actor, what are some of the roles that you do not want to play?
Do not want to play?
Do not want to play.
No.
Off limits.
There's a few. Some of them violate my principles. As a man, I won't play anything, and I've had people ask me to play certain roles that just violate my ethics. Or like, yeah, oh, you shoot and kill people, yeah, but they're just certain roles because I'm a teacher. There's certain there's certain things I will not do, like anything that's like crazy. Probably because I haven't been on those roles. Crazy violence. I've played just for documentary purposes. I did play a racist sheriff, and that was a little tough. It was a tough part because it was a 1930s role, and we were promoting something historically from Florida, showing how prejudice has gone on over time and how it had made its way to the Supreme Court. And it was a tough role, but I played it. And they said, look, if you don't want to say these words, you can't be on set. And the niece of it's called The Poison Garden. That's what it's called. It's called The Poison Garden. And it's still going around. It's like a film documentary. I wanted to play the lawyer because I knew the sheriff was going to be a rough part. I said the sheriff was prejudiced as all get out, and they used that word, and I was like, so I chose not to be it. But then I thought, but then what happened was, well, my sister passed away, and I couldn't go for the filming. This was a couple years ago, and so they had to pull somebody else in to be the lawyer. He goes, I still need a sheriff. Shoot. Okay. So I was like, all right. But the niece of the guy who was unjustly lynched is still alive. She's like 98 years old. She's still alive. And she put her blessing, and I talked to her and I said, look, I just want to let you know I'm not this way. I adopted 3 black kids a long time ago. I'm not this person. But she goes, part of the play. Just do it. We understand. Okay. As long as I got your blessing, just know that I'm not that guy. Because I want to be this white guy going around saying words and going, oh, you're like that. No, I'm not like that. It was tough, but I did it for I did it for the project, and we got the blessing of the community, and it's growing in awards. And we're like, because we're putting out a message like, we don't want to go back to this. We want to progress. And I was like, okay, I'm part of that. Thank you. But there's certain, what's the cheesy? I don't want to be the cheesy dad. I don't want to be the cheesy dad. That's like, the good dad. The dad. I don't want to look like the impotent dad, like they do on a lot of these shows where dad's dumb and dad's this and dad's that. I don't go out for those roles. I don't. Anything that looks weak, nah, I'm not that guy. Well, I played the weak role just because it was I played the guy who got beat. I said, do I look like, I said, if we're on set with all these people around me, do I look like the guy that's going to get beat? I'm 6'1" and 285. I'm not that guy. So I'm going to handle, if these guys in real life would come at me, they'd all lose. I'm just saying.
Right.
I love Jesus, but I'll break you if I have to.
Right.
I'll use this right hand to whoop you, and I'll use this hand to pray for you, heal for you. If I have to. But the Lord has blessed me that way. But I just don't like playing the weak parts, the parts that, or where they just have you on set for. I guess we'll put it this way: it has to have value. If it's a part that has no value, or no, it's just, why did you've seen those movies? This is dumb. Why? Right. Or if it's long distance and it's a good part, but it's not paying right, that's where most of it comes in. It's like, it's got to have value. It's got to mean something. It can't just be a token role. I just, like this role I'm playing coming up. Granted, it's not the money, it's the message, or I got on this other one because the value was being connected to this group of filmmakers and say, look, these guys are going places. Let me get on the team, get on the team. Because, right now, again, I'm going to pay my dues, but down the line, I see something, I feel something. I'm going to get on that.
That's right.
So don't give me cheese. Don't make me, don't put me in. Don't have me a part of your project and then put me on the sideline and waste my time. Just stuff that wastes my time. That's what I won't play. It's a waste of time.
Right. True that. Very, very understand. Very understand. So, what are the roles that basically make you feel like you can do anything? What are the roles that you will gladly play? That you were just like, okay, I'll play those roles. Yeah.
Pop. I will play the bad cop all day long. I will be that bad cop. I'm the bad cop in my classroom. I will be the bad cop. No, okay. Detective cop. I was gonna write Blue Bloods, but they're not on anymore. Because I wanted to be thought maybe there's I'll gladly play those roles. Roles that are funny, that have a comedy in them.
Mm-hmm.
I was in I was a volunteer, but I was part of a theater play production in 2018 for Disney's Newsies. A guy named William Pertisi was the director, and we did it here in Central Florida. And they're like, okay, you got to play 5 roles. But what I told them is, I don't sing. It's a musical. I don't sing. I just said, I'm not singing. I told them. They're like, good. We need people who can't sing. I'm like, perfect. So But one of the parts was at the end of Act 1, the kids get beat up by a bunch of thugs, and I'm like, yes, I got to beat up some children. It was awesome. You shouldn't brag about that. Yeah, but I did.
But I did.
I did. It was fun.
Yeah,
Slam.
so man, what are the roles that basically allowed you to really get in shape, that forced you to get in shape, that really forced you to become a better person?
Christmas movie. We did a Christmas story where I was the dad, and I had to be. Was that? Oh no, Ghost. Well, the human trafficking. I guess over time it was anything I did for Christmas. No, I'm gonna go back to a play. It was a play at a church play, and it was about losing a baby, or baby being stolen. I'm like, why are we having this sad play at Christmas? I was like, whoo! But it hit home personally because just the situation I was going through personally. It was like, well, this sucks. But God was teaching me a lesson. Like, you got to, trauma. People are going through trauma. And what it did is it said, hey, you went through trauma. Somebody else that you don't know is going through trauma. And it touched them in a way. And it brought healing. And I went, oh, so because my initial thought was acting it was kind of selfish. Right? But initially I was like, I got a message. But then there were times it was like acting was just selfish. Here, look at me. Look at what I can do. And then God showed me like, no, you got a message in a lot of these plays that I did. There's a message. Now, not Ozark, but the church plays. We had a message. There's always a message. There's always hope. There's healing. Forgiveness, and it brought the trauma out of a couple or a young couple, and it brought them to and where I was able to be a part of their healing process. And I went, oh, there's more to this than we see. We don't know how we're touching people. And so I'm like, now when I do something, now I know sometimes it's just gratuitous. There's independent films we did that are just to get it done. It was gratuitous. It was a part to play. It was fun. It was nothing more than just entertainment. But the ones of, like, there's one called Hope, where my friend Ashley Wood and Joe Boyd directed. We had Dean Cain in there. It's called Hope. I think it's on Amazon Prime. Anything to do with there's one called A Wave of Kindness we did with Kevin Sorbo. The Ghost Trader, the Not for Sale, which are on jcfilms.org. Those messages were to help bring about things I didn't know statistically about child trafficking, that Orlando at one time was number 3 in the nation for child trafficking. Didn't know that. Miami was number 4, a few years. It was just like, what? And so it brought me now, and then getting those statistics, now I look at my students differently when they start talking about their social media adventures. I'm like, whoa, stop. Now we teach internet safety at our school. And I'm like, and I say, let's have a conversation, because as an adult, I get people that send me scams all the time too, that try to play me. And it's like, but I'm at the ability where I can, you all are thinking, some of them are talking, you can tell their conversation that they're entertaining this, or they're communicating with somebody they don't know, they've never met. So that Ghost Trader, Not for Sale, or the 2 human trafficking films that helped me, actually shifted my thought process more parentally, I guess, as a teacher towards my students.
So, radio.
Suckers never play me. Radio. Yes.
So, what really inspired you to become a radio coach? Radio show host?
McDonald's did that for me 30 years ago.
Ah,
We had the headset, and when people come through, you get bored. Like I said, we got bored. We would make up skits and songs and stuff. So I've got a "Welcome to the Jungle" McDonald's song, which I'm not going to sing today, but I have one. I made it up 30-some years ago. And anyway, yeah. So just being creative at work. So we would get the headsets, and somebody would come through, and I'd be like, "Welcome to McDonald's. How can I take your order?" And they're like, "You got a radio voice, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Well, thank you very much." Okay, whatever. And that's how it started. And then a year and a half ago, in June of 23, wow, time's flying, right? June of 2023, Cynthia and her husband, Ralph, who was on here earlier, they advertised an hour radio show each week. They said, "Does anybody want a radio show for an hour?" And I was like, "Well, yeah." It's the middle of the summer. I was like, "What am I doing?" I had school's out. I'm just like, I wasn't Ubering anymore. I wasn't driving Lyft anymore. I'm like, well, let me try this, right? Acting was kind of slow. We're doing some gigs here and there. But I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what I interviewed. And then they gave me a 4-week probationary period. They said, "You got 4 weeks, prove yourself." From day one, I started telling stories, and like I wrote I found my script a couple weeks ago, my original script from June 2023, and I don't write it out as much anymore. Now I can do off the cuff because I have my rhythm and my style, and I can talk about anything, anytime. But my script, I wrote out 3 pages. I knocked that out in 20 minutes. I went, "Oh man, I got 40 more minutes. What do I do?" So I started telling stories and improvising and talking about having grit and being raised by a certain parent, my dad's stuff. So that's what got me started. That was the inspiration. And then people responding keeps it going. People responding makes it fun.
awesome. So who are the people that basically, support you through all your festivities and all your, your activities and careers?
Okay. Connecting with, like I said, with the radio, Ralph and Cynthia Romeo, connecting with them. What tied that together is last year we went up to celebrate. They said, "Hey, you come to New York." I said, "Well, while I'm in Maryland visiting, it's only 2 more hours to go park in Hoboken, Jersey, take the train over, go to the city, and go down to the radio station and connecting with these guys in real life." That was fun. That's kind of tied it together. It makes it, just making those connections. People who text me, "Hey, I've been listening to your show," and I communicate with 3 or 4 listeners. That helps. Brothers, my cousins, like my cousin Jeff, big time supporter, big time, because he was in the marketing, and he's a lawyer, a businessman. Family friends are like, "Hey, we saw you." Earlier here, Billy was on, like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a commercial in a while." When they say, "Hey, I saw your commercial," okay, all right, "Hey, I was listening to your radio show," and then connecting with people like you want to hear, like Christina Love. Most recently got connected to her. We podcast together. Just the networking process. Friends, new connection, Steve Joyner, who's getting me connected to. I've got some interviewing some interesting people over time that people have seen on television over the years, or things like that. So it's just it's getting bigger and more connected. So that connection, plus family, plus both my brothers and my sister and all my in-laws, and just all that connection, and everybody saying, "Hey, we're listening." It's like it's not a great. It may not be a big audience. Some days it is. New York, it's 100. Could be 100K. I could put something out on Facebook that gets seen by 75 people. But the interaction and the networking is what. It's like, okay, I'm reaching somebody, and then when a student the next day says, "I listened to your show," and I gave a shout out to the kids just in case they were listening. They're like, I heard you. Thank you. You know, it's like, okay, this makes it all worth the while. And keep going.
So, being a radio show host, man, what are the most hardest thing to do as a radio show host?
Interview somebody that's been in the business, keeping an interview going. The other day, I did an interview and I had all these questions lined up and we answered them all in 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay. And then once I got a connecting question, I ran out of questions. I was like, oh, I had to think on the side. And I said something. I said, I was like, I hate this part where I got a brain freeze. Getting a brain freeze is the hardest part. Or the other part on the radio because it was on Tuesday nights when I'm not interviewing anybody, I do a 57-minute show. And it's just me talking to the computer, right? Not being redundant in my material. Like week to week, you can talk about, news changes, things change, but it's talking about those life lessons that you don't want to be redundant. So making sure new content, just being creative. The creativity can be difficult at days, but most of the time, not so bad. When you're first getting started, I had ample room. It's like, wait a minute, I've done 80 shows. How can I, what's next? But it's just making sure you're creative and keeping it fresh. That can be the biggest challenge.
So, being a radio show host, what are the happiest times of doing the radio?
I'm sure there's more to come. Happiest time was, one of them was being in the station in New York last summer. We're all sitting around, and I got a picture on Facebook where I advertised for tonight your show, and I got the headphones on. That was me in New York last summer, just sitting back and going, "This is the real deal, man. I could do that. I could do this. Just show me how to do it. Make sure I'm caught up with the technology, but I could do. You show me how to do these buttons. I'm good. I can learn. But that was fun. And having interviewed a couple people recently, big long-time actors, and people I'm going to be interviewing coming up. Just then connecting with guys like you as well. Just that's what makes it. It's like, hey, and then we promote each other to our audiences, and then we grow, and that's like, yeah, this is fun, man. This is it's different. It's we're doing something. We're reaching out to people. We're pouring ourselves out into the world, into other people, and we're promoting one another, and that's like, yeah, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's crazy because, I love doing this as well. You know what I'm saying? And to see people that you interview with, and to see people, I too had a brain freeze in some of my interviews I did. I'm like, oh shit,
yeah,
I have to come up with something fast, quick. Oh shit,
yeah.
And some of them be like, and the people in the comments be like, do something. I'm
yeah. Say something.
And sometimes it'd be like, it'd be the most awkward is sometimes you get those guests where they be like, they're so hard to really talk to in a way where it's like they so stuck up, and I'm like, damn. They're like they so serious. They never like relax and cool. You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh my god. So I was like, all right, just get it over with.
Right. I guess to you, does it feel a little more like a task than a
yeah. It feels like a task. It feels like you have to it feels like you have to overdo yourself. It feels like you have to really, really, really practice. And but with this whole thing, for me, is like you feel very, very constructive. You know what I'm saying? When you get through radio, you know what I'm saying? When you get into podcasting, and Like, yeah. So I
Yeah.
understand how you feel, man. You know, I understand, man. It's very, 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 very hard. Very, very hard
Right.
doing this type of stuff. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
it's like sometimes you have a packed house. Sometimes you have like two or three listeners. You know
Sometimes,
what I'm saying?
sometimes it's me and the dogs. It's just me and the
Yeah, like yeah, man, and like you just like man, and like I've been through that, dog. I've been through that part where
yeah.
you have to like you feel like man, it's not a packed house, but the show must go on. Then oh
Right.
well, fuck it,
Yeah.
And it's like, but the crazy thing is, people would be like, I watched the show yesterday. Where was you at?
Yeah. I caught the replay. I caught the replay.
I
Oh
caught
yeah.
the replay.
You
Yeah, I'm
caught
like, damn.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah.
Um,
It becomes a very, very, very. It becomes very worthwhile-ish. You know what I'm saying?
right,
When it comes to when you get these big interviews done, and you feel like that's a breakthrough right there. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And I've had many, many, many big interviews. I've bombed some of them, but I've aced most of them.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna come a time, man. The big interviews is gonna be the little fishes. You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah,
that's why I truly agree with you on that. Truly, truly agree with this whole conversation, man. It's been a blast, and
appreciate it.
I'm I am humbled and I'm happy to be here with you, man. We both growing in this business. We're both babies in this business. You
All
know.
right, and I appreciate the opportunity. And while we're here, in the comments, you see Blazing Ray,
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir,
my
yeah.
youngest brother, Gord. That's my youngest brother. Now, if you're ever in, if you're ever in northeastern Maryland, he's in Havre de Grace, Maryland. Water Street Seafood. Check out his restaurant between Wednesday and Sunday. So, dinner time
Okay.
you'll need a reservation. Lunchtime probably not, but he's an award-winning chef and he's amazing. And he still won't let me cook for him because I messed some food up 45 years ago.
Hey, 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 hey.
Oatmeal. I messed it up.
Hey, man. Hey,
Yeah,
I say it like this. Let's have him on the show. Let's promote this business, man.
that's right.
Let's
That's
do it.
right. Yes, let's have a show. Maybe, yeah, I'm sure he'll agree to that. Let's have a show there one day at his place.
You know,
We'll
I
do a
got an
show.
idea too. You know what I'm saying?
You come down from Camden, and I'll
Yeah,
pay for your dinner.
yeah. I would. Hey, man, I would love to do it, man. Look,
We'll take
because I'm about to start doing interviews,
right.
in person. Where I go to the people most of the time, and I talk to them in person, and start doing all around the tri-state area and stuff like that, just to basically
Yeah,
build the audience. And I mean, first it's going to start out in Camden, then it's going to start out in the suburbs and the boonies, all that good stuff. You know what
right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this is when the In Your Face show starts to take off. And I got a question for the people watching. How did y'all like the show? Let me know before we go. Let me know what y'all think. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts in the comments? Comments. Say something. YouTube. Hey, also like and subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? Also, send me a friend request. Man. And also, like all the content you see.
Right.
Hey, it's all good.
And
I
then
love doing this. I love having guests on like Mr. Ray. Hey, whenever you want to come back on, bro, let me know. I will do it
absolutely.
again for
Yeah. Let me get past this 15 interview schedule I got. Yeah. Because you want to talk about stressing. I understand it now. It's like
you. Yeah.
I understand, but it's cool. It's all but that's growth. That's growth, right? If you don't
Hmm.
struggle, like I said earlier, you don't struggle, you don't grow. And then
But
yeah.
right, true that. I mean,
Mhm.
I got a nugget to give to you. I
Sure.
mean, Vince, I've been doing this for 2 years. You've been doing this for a year and a half. Um, do as many shows as possibly can.
Okay.
Meaning, if you can do it within if you could do 2 days, two of them within a day, You
Right.
can do 3 of them within a day. Push
And
yourself.
That's actually coming up in February. We're talking like 4 a week. It's like
Yeah.
two 1 hours or 3 1 hours, 3 1 hours, or 1 hour and 4 2.5 hours. But it's gonna be it's coming. It's coming.
I'm telling you, bro. And like, bro, I do that on the regular. I get
Right.
those schedules, and I love those schedules. Why? It's because a lot of it is exuberant to me.
Right.
It's a rush. It's fun because at least I get closer to my goal. And I told everybody by March. Matter of fact, by I say February. By February, I should be at 120. I will be at 120 shows. 220 shows, I meant.
Cool.
And by the summer, I will be at 250 shows.
Nice.
And by the end of the year, I'll be at 300 episodes. So I'm
Rocket.
coming for it. I'm going for it. Look,
okay.
What you say?
That's it. You said in the summer would be 250, right?
The summer would be 250.
And it's the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. I got an idea. We'll talk about it later. I got an idea.
Let's work that out. You know what I mean?
Collaboration. Your show, your 250. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem.
I got an idea. Okay.
I mean, because this is it'll be something to 200th anniversary, 250. You know what I'm saying? Let's work that out. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, let's get that.
Okay, I got an idea. So, and if I can pull in a nice plug, you can catch me on WPAT930am.com every Tuesday from 6 to 7 currently. And I'll be interviewing a bunch of people coming up. So, and then they can catch I'll be starting my YouTube videos, start dropping those out. That's in the future coming. And start, because I'm just, like I said, I'm growing, but I'm trying to be like you, man. It's getting there.
Hey, we're gonna help each other get up there. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Let's do that thing.
Absolutely.
Also, too, you can catch me every day, all day. The In Your Face Show, every day. Let's get it, everybody. You know, the In Your Face Show. We in the house. You know what I'm saying? You know, we working that out, baby. It's
right.
the In Your Face Show. And I'm here with Mr. Ray. And we out. Peace.
Peace.